Yo, what is up guys? So we're here to talk about Black Ops 4. Is it fixed? This is after the second weekend of the beta. Now I did play in the first beta, I maxed out on every single day that you could max out, and during the second week of the beta I also maxed out. I also did play on PC as well. Overall, my experiences from the first weekend to the second weekend haven't really changed too much. The core gameplay experience is the same. So if you really didn't like the first week of the beta, the second week, well, they did buff and nerf certain things. Overall, the core gameplay mechanics and experiences are going to be relatively similar. So that said, there hasn't been too much of a change in that. But I really wanted to address the question. You guys can see someone in my chat over here, because this was all taken from my live stream, asking, is this game worth it? Like, is the game worth buying? Is it worth playing? In fact, some people didn't even want to download it when I said, by the way, it's an open beta, because some people were asking, how do you get into the beta? But overall, basically the core gameplay and concepts are very similar to what I would say is in Black Ops 2, with the exception of specialists. There's no wall jumping. A lot of people asked me that. They did not add wall running or anything in week 2. However, they did nerf jumping slightly, but overall the game again is pretty much the same. But I wanted to go over some of the complaints that the community did have. Now there's a lot of different forums. I'm going to be using Reddit here because I would say this is the most popular one, and on top of that, the subjects that I did choose for briefly discussing are going to be things that had basically the most upvotes, or there's multiple people posting the same type of thing. One of them might have more of an upvote, but I wanted to use one person's example. But overall, I think this game will be pretty fun for people interested in playing competitive. Now, one thing to keep in mind with competitive Call of Duty is there's a lot less players playing, and certain Call of Duty games eventually you can't play in the ranked section because there's actually no one playing ranked, which is a definitely concern for a lot of people. Those of you guys that have watched me for Overwatch know when I queue super late, sometimes it takes 10-15 minutes just to get into one game, because if you are at a very high rank in a game, it tries to put you next to someone else that is also very high ranked. Also, to kind of address like the video title, because I wanted to mention this as a 10 KD gameplay. I personally would say I play Call of Duty at a different level. I'm not really going to be complaining about certain things that I would say less veteran Call of Duty players would complain about. Again, with the whole quickscoping mechanic, am I really worried about someone being a quickscope god in like League play? No, I'm not at all, because they're just going to get dumpstered on, because that's just the way League play works. But that is a huge complaint. Even on console, people are complaining about the quickscoping. I understand, it's annoying to die to it, but let's go ahead and jump into the topics here. By the way, League play was not available in any of the weekend modes. That's why it's just basically pub matches. But again, I want to say that a lot of people that are complaining about certain things aren't going to have that high KD anyways, so that's why some of these opinions can matter for, I guess, different players' level of skill. Because while armor was still annoying, and I definitely have complained about it at certain times, I think there are things that are much better than armor. Acoustic sensor outclasses that by tenfold, as far as like for a good player. Again, these are just my opinions. They might differ from yours because I play Call of Duty in a different environment where, like I said, people are more sweaty. But anyways, first thing I wanted to address, some of these, if they're too small to read, don't worry. I'll link the Reddit, basically all of the things down below in the description box. Anyways, but this guy's basically complaining about Fog of War is broken. This is a huge change to Black Ops 4. This is actually one of the bigger changes, although it's still, again, the core gameplay mechanics are the same. But anyways, this video is titled, Fog of War is broken, it has to be a bug, and I've seen it multiple times. So he's going to zoom up on this. So actually, you know what, for this one I'm going to make this a little larger, because this one's actually kind of important. So basically, he shows that you can still see people behind you due to the Fog of War in the game. The minimap's a little bit different, but he's going to be showing off. Let me go ahead and show exactly what happened. Basically, he sees someone there for like one frame, where the guy is actually behind him. And that's due to the Fog of War. Apparently, some areas, due to maybe like a small window or something, it allows you to see through the wall, therefore being able to see behind you. You can still technically see behind you in Black Ops 4 as far as on the minimap. That's a huge deal. The Fog of War is something that is a new mechanic, but overall, I'm not a fan of Fog of War, but some people were complaining about the Fog of War so much, they're like, I'm not buying this Call of Duty when people can see behind me. Yes, it's definitely annoying, but acoustic sensor is way better, alright? Anyways, someone made a straw poll, and this one actually got pretty popular. In fact, on a lot of these Reddit posts, people from Treyarch are actually looking into it, and sometimes I'll actually comment back on this. But here's like the straw poll with the whole Fog of War. So people are saying, make it the player's point of view and not 360 degrees. So how it works is you can see all around you. That would be something that, again, some people are saying, I don't want to buy this game simply because people can see behind you. Again, acoustic sensor, man, this is so good anyways. Some people want it removed altogether. For me, that's kind of where I feel like I'd be okay with it. Some people like how it is where you can see behind you. I feel personally that that's really bad. I feel like I'm more on like the first vote or the second vote, but I definitely don't like how it is. That's a small adjustment that can definitely change. So if this was determining if you would buy the game or not, judging by these votes here, again, Treyarch does look at what they post on Reddit, specifically on this forum. Another complaint that I wanted to address for anyone having it, as far as DLC weapons go, because this is another factor of, is the game actually good or not? Some people felt like this ruined Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Personally, for me, while the new M16 is technically better than the M8, I'm perfectly fine with just using the M8, because in competitive, they ban all the DLC guns anyways. Again, that's my standpoint. That's how I feel about it, because I'm only interested in playing competitive Call of Duty anyways. But anyways, as far as DLC weapons go, I don't think this is something that is going to be removed in the game, unfortunately. If you are deciding to buy this game, whether or not they add DLC weapons, I would just say they're going to add DLC weapons. At first, it's going to be cosmetic, and then later they're going to slowly start implementing it in. I hope they don't, but I feel like that's just something that is inevitable in the gaming industry these days. I wish it was just cosmetic. I hope they do take feedback. But as far as DLC weapons goes, I feel like they're going to add them. Next up, this is something that now we're getting to something actually positive. This is talking about grenade spam. Let me actually zoom up in here so you guys can maybe read it a little bit better, because I know it is kind of small, but it's so I can still have gameplay in the background. But as far as grenade spam, this is a huge change from World War II. In World War II, basically when people would spawn in, they just throw down their grenade or the S-mine, and the amount of explosives in Black Ops 4 is a lot less than previous Call of Duty game, because it's on a cooldown, rather than, oh, I spawned in, I have an nade, throw it, right? That's natural for a lot of people. But I think that that is something that is definitely something very good in the game. Even if you don't run the specialist like ability that you normally get like on a short cooldown and you run the grenade, it still has a cooldown anyways. But anyways, that said, that is something that I would definitely say is a positive thing. Now this one is just memeing on the devastating score streaks. I'm just going to go ahead and play it out. The score streaks definitely feel like they still need to be buffed, alright? The Mantis can't even walk up a lot of the stairs in the game. It's just memeing on basically the like trailer-ish for the beta. But nonetheless, I feel like score streaks still need another round of buffs over here. Hopefully that will happen again in the future, but that's something that could easily be adjusted. In fact, they already buffed the score streaks, but people are still complaining about it. Again, this is something that I don't think is going to really determine if people buy the game or not, but I really don't like when the score streaks are weak. It makes me not want to play the game, which obviously can affect the player base and stuff like that, as far as like the good players. I feel like most people have moved on to Fortnite. Anyways, and I'll talk about that in a second. This is another thing that I totally agree with. The spawns flip way too fast, and I've heard a lot of people get really frustrated with this and like, dude, the spawns are so bad, I'm gonna go play Fortnite. Like, I legitimately did have some friends that I used to play Call of Duty with, and like, dude, let's just go play Fortnite. And that's simply because they were just really frustrated at the way the game was playing out. As far as like noobs being able to kind of play the game, I feel like because the time to kill is a little bit higher, generally the better player will win in this game. However, there's a lot of things that are out of your control. For example, if you happen to have someone use the dog and rush you. Even though the dog has been significantly nerfed, it still can be kind of frustrating to run into certain things that you can't really deal with. But the spawn's living way too fast, even when the best player is playing. Like, when they're spawning like literally right behind you and you're still shooting someone, that's kind of a problem. And if you're still like in that person's like spawn, the spawns definitely need to be fixed. Another thing I wanted to address was like the quick scoping. Basically, there's like hundreds of posts on the whole quick scoping mechanic in the game. Basically, there's a operator mod. I mean, just watch this for a second, you'll see what I'm saying. Like, basically, the guy's going ham with quick scoping. I mean, that looks like it's kind of fun, honestly. But the thing is that maybe, you know, once out of every 100 games, he's going to be able to pull off a clip like this, right? But overall, I would not worry about this too much. Again, especially if you're interested in competitive, like, don't worry about this kind of stuff. I mean, I know it looks OP, alright? But again, anyone can record enough footage to make anything look super, super strong. I can make video footage of Black Ops 3 making the ICR look like the god weapon, right? There's so many YouTubers that make these videos saying, this is the best gun, and it's definitely not. It's just because it's basically clickbait. It's basically talking about things that would interest people. They're like, what? This is the best gun? Again, you can make any gun look good. Just keep on playing. Now, this is a thing that a lot of people have addressed. They're saying it's a huge downgrade from Black Ops 3, and even things are recycled from Black Ops 3, not only the specialist, but also things like this where it says hold X for Cerberus, which is a score streak in Black Ops 3. There's also a thing in the colorblind option that was just ripped from Black Ops 3. A lot of people are saying basically they took Black Ops 3 and heavily modified it because it's just the same game. And while it does feel like Black Ops 3 a lot, regardless if that's the case or not, I still think the game is okay. It's not so terrible that I'm gonna like retract my pre-order. I'm definitely interested in playing this game, but obviously there's a lot of assets and a lot of things that are similar to Black Ops 3, but a lot of people are saying it's a downgrade. And while I will say I personally, as of this moment, prefer Black Ops 3 over Black Ops 4, I want to say that with a bunch of patches, they can make this game much better than its current state. The next thing I want to talk about is, no, again, this is just snipers. This is a huge concern for a lot of people buying the game or not, as far as quickscoping goes, because some people really hate quickscoping. Again, I don't feel like this should be a complaint, but again, so many people are complaining about it that I think that it can be a huge deal breaker for a lot of people. But I think a lot of people are more interested in Battle Royale, honestly, than anything. Next thing I want to talk about is 150 HP being too much, because, well, this person says that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Your time to kill is decided by the gun damage per shot and how fast they shoot. It's balanced by that, not how much HP you have. They're roughly the same percent per bullet as other games. This is just decided to use less damage per bullet relative to the HP. So basically what he's trying to say, even though people are saying 150 HP is too much, the guns technically do more damage on integers, but relative to the HP, it's still like, the guy's trying to make the argument that that's not the problem. The problem is the guns aren't doing more damage, or basically the scaling in it isn't adding up, which he is correct. But at the end of the day, basically what people are complaining about is the time to kill, which is basically 150 HP is too much, which could still, if they lower the HP to 100, the time to kill would be faster. So his argument is kind of invalid in some aspect, and I get what other people are saying. But at the end of the day, as far as the time to kill in this game, so many people are saying it's too long. I even played in certain times where I'm shooting someone mid-gunfight and then they get healed. That's not necessarily the HP being too much. That's just someone getting healed, or, you know, they happen to have armor, or whatever the case may be, right? That can be a huge deal breaker for some people, just seeing that the time to kill is a little bit longer. And it definitely is. As far as my take on it, sometimes it's annoying, but overall, I feel like when the time to kill is much higher, I enjoy the games a little bit more. Like, for example, when Ghosts had so many guns that would just instantly melt, right? I felt like I didn't have a chance to fight. Even though, like, majority of times, the person that gets the first shot is usually going to be winning the gunfight, it kind of gives you more of a chance to heal up and kind of reestablish, basically, your control over, like, what's going on. But that's my take on it. Anyways, next up, this is a complaint that will be fixed. This is not really going to be something that determines if someone buys the game or not. However, it is just more quality of life. But anyways, Treyarch Dev confirms that enemy loadout will be in the kill cam, so you know what gun they were using, what attachments, those kinds of things. And I think one reason why they didn't implement it into the beta is simply because they don't want everyone using the exact same thing. Not like, oh, I got killed by this person, what was he using? Oh, I'm going to make that class now. So that way they can get a better sense of what people want to actually like try to equip when they're playing the game. So I feel like in that aspect, that does make sense. The next thing I want to talk about is viability as far as like a gamer stream. Some streamers will not stream games that are not like on the top. In fact, this weekend, Call of Duty was under 10K views on the weekend, and this is like second beta, open beta. That is kind of disappointing, and that can really deter people from wanting to even play the game in the first place, because they're like, oh, dead game, right? You know, day 1 or 2, first maybe week, the game will be popular, but slowly games die out. In fact, I don't believe Call of Duty ever peaked over Fortnite, and Fortnite was just a normal day. There wasn't anything special added in Fortnite. There was no new Thanos mode or anything like that. And that can, again, determine, you know, how many views people are getting on, like, YouTube, Twitch, and people use that as a reference. Because if Fortnite is getting, you know, 10 to 20 times the amount of views, why would a content creator want to create, you know, content for a game that, and, you know, put the same amount of effort in? And I've mentioned this several times. However, in my, I guess, situation, I've always played competitive. Competitive definitely gets way less views anyways when it comes down to Call of Duty in general. Like, more people are interested in like, oh, you get the huge gunship, you know, that's cool, but you're not going to be getting those large score streaks in competitive. I mean, back in Black Ops 3, there's several times where I've gotten Raps, which is the highest score streak. But at the end of the day, like, it doesn't happen every single game. It's more of a sweat tri-fest. You're not going to, when people, like, look at competitive, especially when you're playing at, like, the very high level, like, I'm talking, like, Masters, you don't generally see people that are gonna be popping like 2, 3, 4, even like 10 KD games. It just doesn't happen. That only happens in pubs when people are usually pretty bad, which is, I don't know, half the games when I play. Especially like this game over here, we got it's like 2v like 5 or something like that, because I don't know, that was just something that happened in the beta. There's a lot of times when people leave. But anyways, this is Black Ops 4. Over the average viewers here is 35,000. And judging by the chart over here, I mean, you can see it started at 91K was apparently its peak, and you know, it averaged apparently 35K, but it's kind of hard to use like this as its peak, because sometimes when only one streamer is playing a game, it really inflates the numbers. But like overall average, like you can see that, I mean, it was like under 10K, we have at like 50K, but like 35K compared to if you go to Fortnite, right, and look at the average viewers, 176K. I mean, and majority of the time this game, I would say, like, again, keep in mind like this 90K at its peak, it can be kind of skewed just because like one streamer plays it. But I would say its overall peak is probably about like 50-ish K, right? Average like higher peaks versus like its top one-time peak. I mean, we're talking 50K, whereas Fortnite, you're never really hitting like under that number. Even at its lowest point right here, what is it, like 80, 70? They're completely different integers. And I think that, again, a lot of streamers will be playing certain games that they find to be more popular anyways. But that is definitely something that can affect someone's purchase, you know, plan. Like, do I want to buy this game at launch? Is it even going to be viable for me to stream? Or even, can I get into lobby where there's a lot of players that, you know, are on like more of an equal level of skill? Because that's something to also factor in when you're interested in purchasing a game. Is there a large enough player base to where I'm not going to get, you know, only sweaties? Because sometimes games, they are so niche that only like the super hardcore people play them. Because I want to say a lot of the casual people left Call of Duty for Fortnite, and even the competitive people, like, there's a higher skill ceiling, in my opinion, on Fortnite because of the building and editing mechanic, that they have just moved on to other games in general. And while this new Call of Duty game doesn't really offer anything new, I understand why people are complaining about this kind of stuff. But overall, these are my thoughts on it. Did it get better through the first week to the second week? For optimization issues and crashes, definitely yes. But has it changed so much that I think that people's opinions will change? No. But that's my thought. I would love to know your thoughts down below. Is Call of Duty good? Is it good after the second weekend? You know, does it still suck, I guess, is kind of a question that I was also asked. And I don't think the game ever really sucked. It just didn't really offer anything new to the point where I'm like, wow, oh my gosh, I want to play this game every single day. Like, there's a new update, or there's enough content for like a general YouTuber to create content on this. Because when you look at other games like Fortnite, and I know we keep on using this as an example, but it's important, because basically the Call of Duty community left for Fortnite. But when Fortnite is doing so many things so much better, right, it's free. All your friends can play. You don't have to worry about cross-platform, unless, of course, I guess you're on PS4, then you can't play with Xbox. But you have just so much better options with Fortnite, with just creating content. When there's a new gun, there's a new area, they've changed like certain things. Every week there's a new mode. Will Call of Duty be able to do that? I hope so. I hope this game is really in it for the long run versus like next year new Call of Duty game, guys. Because that's honestly how I think a lot of people feel about Call of Duty in general. It's kind of just recycled over and over. There's no big draw to this. But I think competitive will be fun, and I will definitely be streaming competitive regardless if the game is dead or not. I do technically enjoy it. But depending on, you know, how well it does, that can determine how much I'm going to be playing this game. That's the honest truth. But anyways, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours down below. I'd love to know. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the vid. Let me know if you're going to be getting Black Ops 4 after watching this video. Did it change your mind or anything like that? Love to know in the comment section below. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the vid, drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to see more Call of Duty and other gaming content.